In this video, we're going to cover two new data elements that will be in HMIS as of October 1st, 2020. The first of these data elements is called Data Element 4.19. All of the changes related to Data Element 4.19 are present on the VI SPDAT or the FVI SPDAT. Let's take a look at the changes. The first change that you'll notice on the VI SPDAT or the FVI SPDAT is this Assessment Contact Type field. You'll notice that it automatically selected in person. If you're doing an in-person assessment with your client, there's nothing for you to fill in here. However, if you are doing a phone or virtual assessment with your client, then you will need to switch this to the appropriate option. The second part of Data Element 4.19 can be seen at the very bottom of the VI SPDAT or the FVI SPDAT page. We're looking at this prioritization status field. You'll notice that this field has automatically selected placed on prioritization list. The only other option is not placed on prioritization list, and we would never want to select this option. So essentially, there's no reason that you should ever change this field. And that wraps it up for Data Element 4.19. In this video, we're going to cover the new Coordinated Entry Data Element 4.20. Collection of 4.20 is required by HUD starting on October 1st, 2020, meaning that it will be in the system at that point, and the expectation is that you will complete this data element moving forward. This data element helps us be able to capture key referral and placement events. Our current referral process, which we just covered in the last video, has made it difficult to track the outcome of those referrals that have been made in HMIS. Let's call those referrals basic referrals. These new 4.20 referrals, which I'm about to show you, are going to be called Coordinated Entry Event Referrals. Using Coordinated Entry Events, or CE events, we can now see the specific result of a referral. We can track that basic referral that we made and see what housing program that client ended up in, making this a better way for us to track what's actually happening in the system. It's also a way for us to maintain a smoother handoff from entry point to receiving agency. The process for entry points remains the same as we just covered in the referrals video. Entry points will still be expected to record basic referrals so that receiving agencies are aware of what clients have come through coordinated entry and were referred to them. And these basic referrals also help us to record client choice. This addition of coordinated entry event referrals is to reflect a referral to a specific project opening, meaning that once the community knows about an opening at a specific program, we would make a coordinated entry event referral for that opening. Let's say my agency's rapid rehousing program has an opening. At that point, I would go in and make a coordinated entry event referral for that specific rapid rehousing opening for that client. That way, we can easily track that the client ended up in that rapid rehousing program. So who specifically is in charge of making these referrals if not the entry point? Think about it. As an entry point, you may not necessarily know if there's a project opening at a certain agency or project when you make that basic referral. So that's why these 4.20 coordinated entry event referrals are going to be a community effort. While only certain people will be physically making these coordinated entry events in HMIS, everyone in your community is going to play a part in this new process. The person entering in 4.20 coordinated entry events will need to use case conferencing as well as consult the housing priority list to determine who the next person on that list is, and then make that coordinated entry event referral to the opening in their project. Each community in the balance of state has a different way of interacting with the housing priority list, and so the person entering these CE events is going to differ community to community. You should reach out to your coordinated entry community leaders or your CEPE to figure out how that process is done in your community or who that point person will be for your community. And that way you can figure out who is responsible for entering in these 4.20 coordinated entry events. It might be you, it might not be, but either way, you're still going to play a part in this process. So let's take a look at where these coordinated entry events are in HMIS. They're available outside of the workflow, and you'll see that they have their own menu option on the left-hand menu panel. When I click on Coordinated Entry Events, I'm brought to the coordinated entry events page, which currently does not have any records, and I'm going to click this Add New button. You'll see that this page doesn't look too different from your basic referral page. There's a date field at the top, which you should always double check. And then there's this event type drop-down box. When you click on it, you'll see that there are 15 different options to select. I'm going to go through each of these options and when it would be appropriate to select. But before we do that, I wanted to briefly go over the difference between access events and referral events. So access events are referrals or services that happen before coordinated entry, whereas referral events happen during coordinated entry. So if your client has gone through a coordinated entry intake, meaning they have a coordinated entry enrollment on their dashboard, that means that they have accessed the system already, so none of those access referrals would apply. The only exception to this rule would be if a client's coordinated entry enrollment was closed and this client was coming back to the coordinated entry system for a second time. If they don't yet have a second coordinated entry enrollment, then these access events would apply to them. I've created a spreadsheet that goes through each of these 15 options and when to use them. I'm going to email all of you this spreadsheet, and it will also be available in the additional references section of this course. Let's take a look at it. So here we have the entire spreadsheet. I'm zoomed pretty far out, so you can't quite read anything, but I just wanted you to see that in the left-hand column, we have all 15 of those options that we just saw in the drop-down menu. In the second column, we have HUD's description of each of those options. And in that final third column, we have THN's comments on when it would be an appropriate time for you to use that specific option. You'll notice that 6 of these 15 options are grayed out. None of these options are currently going to be used in the balance of state, meaning that you do not need to worry about ever picking any of these 6 options. Unfortunately, we can't remove these options from the drop-down, so it's really up to you to make sure that you're making an appropriate coordinated entry event and not choosing one of these options that's not relevant to our system. Let's zoom in and take a look at these options. So you'll see that first option, referral to a prevention assistance project, is grayed out, and you will not ever need to select this option. That second option, problem solving, diversion, rapid resolution, HUD says the client participated in a diversion or rapid resolution problem solving conversation and received assistance. And those THN comments explain further that assessors will record the CE event after enrolling a client into diversion. The coordinated entry event page now appears in the diversion workflow, meaning that by completing the diversion workflow, you're going to create one of these CE events, and the correct option to pick on that drop-down menu is going to be that second option, problem solving, diversion, rapid resolution. One thing to note, only certain communities in the Texas Balance of State COC currently use the diversion program, so if you do not have access to the Coordinated Entry Diversion Workgroup, you do not need to use this option. The next 3 options on the drop-down list are all grayed out, and these 3 options should never be selected. Scrolling down, you'll see that the 6th option on our drop-down, referral to a street outreach project or services. In that third column, you'll see that assessors will use this for clients who, after completing their coordinated entry enrollment, are staying in an unsheltered location and would like to receive services from a street outreach project. Number 7, referral to a housing navigator project or services. Receiving agencies with a housing navigation project will refer clients to themselves and then update the result of the referral. I'm going to walk you through how to update the result of the referral in just a moment. And number 8, referral to non-continuum services ineligible for continuum services. Assessors will use this for clients who are not eligible for local housing resources. So an example would be a rapid rehousing project is only for Category 1 or 4, and the client is not Category 1 or 4. Another example would be an SSVF project that is only for veterans and the client is not a veteran. Number 9, referral to non-continuum services, no availability in continuum services. So unlike the previous coordinated entry event where the client was ineligible for a service, this coordinated entry event is for a situation where there's no availability for that service in your community. As the comment says, assessors will use this for clients who are eligible for an available resource, but there is no opening. Assessors will continue to record basic referrals to transitional housing, rapid rehousing, and permanent supportive housing to indicate client choice. You'll notice that referral to emergency shelter bed opening is grayed out, meaning that you should not select this option. The final 4 options that you should select are all very similar in that they are about openings to specific housing projects. Number 11 is a referral to a transitional housing bed or unit opening. Number 12 is a referral to a joint TH rapid rehousing project unit resource opening. Number 13 is a referral to rapid rehousing project resource opening. And number 14 is a referral to a permanent supportive housing project resource opening. Let's look at this referral to rapid rehousing project as an example. In the coordinated entry workflow, assessors will continue to record basic rapid rehousing referrals to record client choice, like we saw in the last video. Outside of the coordinated entry workflow, and when ready, receiving agencies that have a rapid rehousing project will acknowledge that basic rapid rehousing referral within 3 days and then refer clients to themselves using one of these coordinated entry events, and then will be responsible for updating the result of that referral, whether it's successful or unsuccessful. And you'll see that that last option, referral to other permanent housing project unit resource opening, is also grayed out, so we would not select that option. So using our rapid rehousing example, let's dive in and take a look at this in the system. For this example, let's continue to use the household that we've been using throughout this training. So let's use our household that we've been using throughout this training. Let's say that a rapid rehousing referral was made for this client within their community, and now that agency has an opening in their rapid rehousing program, which is great. So the receiving agency would then be in charge of finding that referral on the client's referrals page. And remember that they must acknowledge that referral within 3 days. So I'm going to fill in this date acknowledged field. Now I've filled in that date acknowledged field and I'm going to click save. And now it's my turn as the receiving agency to create a coordinated entry referral to the rapid rehousing project opening. So I'm going to click on coordinated entry events, and then I'm going to select add new. You'll notice that some time has passed from my acknowledgement date to the date that I'm creating this coordinated entry event. Remember that acknowledging a referral doesn't necessarily mean that there's an opening yet. It just means that I'm aware that this referral has been made to my agency. But now that there is an opening in our rapid rehousing project, I'm going to go in and create this coordinated entry event. So under event type, I'm going to select refer to rapid rehousing project resource opening. You'll notice that a number of other dropdowns appear. Under enrollment, I'm going to select the coordinated entry enrollment. And then you'll see this box, location of crisis housing or permanent housing referral. When you click on this, you'll notice that there's a long list of HMIS projects in here. Many of them belong to other communities outside of your own. Essentially, what the system has done is filtered down all of the rapid rehousing programs in HMIS. It's going to be your responsibility to find the appropriate one for the rapid rehousing program that has an opening. Once you find the program that has the rapid rehousing opening, you'll select it. And then there's going to be this refer to provider button. You'll click that magnifying glass. Remember that you'll want to find the provider with that OFC at the beginning. Since I'm in the training site, I'm going to select this one. And I did want you to notice that it is possible to select a provider that doesn't match with this program. We don't want to see that in the system, so make sure to select the correct provider that matches with the program you've selected. Essentially, the system won't stop you from doing this incorrectly. And the last 2 fields on this page are the referral result and the result date. If you've been doing this for a while, you may remember these 2 fields used to be on that basic referral page, but they are no longer there. Now they live on this coordinated entry event page. So when there is a referral result, you'll need to fill these out on the coordinated entry event page. If you don't necessarily have a result yet, you can always select save, and then click this yellow pencil icon once you do have the result and the result date, and fill these in at a later time. Let's walk through these referral result options. You'll see that we have 3 options: successful referral, client accepted, which is ideal. And then we have unsuccessful referral, client rejected. This means that the client rejected this referral. And our third option, unsuccessful referral, provider rejected. This means that the provider rejected the referral. I'm going to select successful referral, and I'm going to put in my result date. The final field on this page is the resulting enrollment. So once you've created an enrollment into Rapid Rehousing in HMIS for your client, you would be able to see that enrollment in this drop-down menu and you could select it. Click Save when you're done. If you have any questions about Data Element 4.19 or Data Element 4.20, please get in touch with us at hmis@thn.org. Thanks for watching.